Hey guys, Stavan here and welcome back to my channel once again. So you must have seen the thumbnail. So without wasting time, let's get it started. So today's topic is four coils. Now it's a very confusing topic. As such, topic is not confusing, but manufacturers are confusing us because if you refer engine oil, right? So in engine oil there is a SAE grade of viscosity. So basically they are a multi-grade engine oils. So you must have read somewhere 5W10, right? 5W20, 5W30, 10W40, like so on. So they are giving you an idea about the lower viscosity and higher viscosity. But in the case of four coil, we are getting a single grade viscosity oil. So either it has to be 5 weight, 2.5 weight, right? 10. So how manufacturers are confusing us. So as we have seen in the case of engine oil, so those viscosity grades are the homogenized one, मतलब streamline है. So whatever brand you are picking it up, so they might be having the same viscosity if the oil is of same viscosity grade. But in the case of four coil, suppose 5 weight oil if we are using, right? So that 5 weight oil might not be having the same viscosity as the 5 weight oil of other brand. So that's why the confusion comes into picture, and I will try to clear all the doubts regarding the viscosity of four coil. But before starting it, let me give you a brief idea about the function of four coil. So basically this is the motorcycle, and the entire motorcycle system is supported by the forks. So these are the front forks and these are the rear forks. So basically the purpose of these forks, so they will absorb undulation of the road surfaces, potholes or uneven road surfaces, and they won't transmit it directly to your hand or rider's hand. So that's why you can get a smooth ride without the much disturbance. This is your motorcycle front fork system. Basically they are having a few components inside it. So starting from the first, that is the pipes, right, or tubes, then the spring inside, spacer and the pump. So all of them together work in direction to give you a soft ride, or by absorbing the undulation or the uneven road surfaces. So your motorcycle suspension system work by two mechanisms. The first one is the compression. Compression means whenever your motorcycle hits the undulation or the uneven road surface, so the internal spring that will get compressed, something like this. So this is the compression, and once it is compressed, so the internal spring is having some spring rate, so which will try to extend the spring again into its original form. So when that extended takes place, so it is called as a rebound. So these two terminology you should be knowing. The first one is the compression, when the spring gets compressed, and the rebound when the spring gets extended. As usual, I will divide this video into two parts. Part number 1 will be a minor upgrade, and part number 2 will be the major upgrade. So minor upgrade is when you are happy with the motorcycle performance, right? Means a suspension system I am talking about, but just want to make it slightly better. So in that case, the minor upgrade part will be useful to you. But in the case of part 2, that is the major upgrade. So in that case, you are not satisfied with the stock motorcycle suspension system and you want a complete overhaul of your suspension system. So in that case, the part 2 will be useful to you. So let's get it started. Once you have all these three data of your existing four coil, then you should start searching for an alternative four coil. So this data will be useful to you for selecting your alternative four coil. So you should be looking for identical viscosity grade, right? It should be a 5 weight, 10 weight or 15 weight. Then the next thing will be identical kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius. Because what happen, no matter what manufacturers write, suppose 5 weight उन्होंने mention किया है, but it is not necessarily, it may be the 5 weight oil, right? So this is the issue with the four coil. So this kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius will give you an exact idea if the oil is 5 weight, 10 weight or 15 weight. And the last thing, that is the viscosity index. So your alternative oil or the next oil should be having a higher number. Higher the number, better the temperature resistance, means viscosity index जितना अच्छा होगा उतना आपका four coil अच्छा है. So these three parameters you should be looking whenever you are changing your four coil. So as per my opinion, if you are powering a four coil that is having a better viscosity index, right, and a full synthetic formula along with the identical kinematic viscosity of your existing four coil, then your most of the problems will be sorted out. So this is the minor upgrade. So in that you have to consider these three parameters, starting with the first, that is the viscosity grade, viscosity index, and the last one will be the kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius. Now if I can give you some example, then I am having a few bottles of a different branded fork oil that I have used in the past. So basically I am using this motorcycle, that is the RE Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, and from the factory they are using a HP oil. तो मुझे ज़्यादा कुछ डिटेल्स मिली नहीं इंटरनेट पे, and nothing is mentioned in the owner's manual also. They only mention it is a 10 weight oil, but kinematic viscosity was missing, right? Then the viscosity index was missing, so those data were not available. तो मैंने थोड़ा इंटरनेट पे सर्च किया, HP की साइट पे गया, वेबसाइट पे, and then I found it out that viscosity index of this HP oil is just 45. So 45 is a very less number, and that is the reason why this interceptor, मतलब बहुत सारे owners को जो issue आ रहा है, so reason is this fork oil only, because what happen, 45 is very less number as I have said earlier. तो जनरली आप जब बाइक स्टार्ट करते हो, राइट, एंड राइड स्टार्ट करते हो, तो एट दैट टाइम द फोर्क ऑयल वॉन्ट बी हीटेड अप, मतलब टेम्परेचर उतना नहीं होगा, तो आपको राइड क्वालिटी अच्छी मिलेगी, कुशनिंग मिलेगा, कंप्रेशन प्रॉपर मिलेगा. बट एज सुन एज यू स्टार्ट राइडिंग इट फॉर मोर देन 100 किलोमीटर, 200 किलोमीटर, एंड उसके बाद द टेम्परेचर विल बी मच मोर ऑफ द इंटरनल फोर्क्स, एंड ऑयल अपनी विस्कोसिटी छोड़ देगा, मतलब राइट. तो योर फोर्क्स वॉन्ट बी परफॉर्मिंग एज गुड एज those were performing in the beginning. मतलब आपने जब राइड स्टार्ट किया था तब जो फोर्क का परफॉर्मेंस है, एंड आफ्टर 200 और 300 किलोमीटर चलाने के बाद जो फोर्क का परफॉर्मेंस है, सो दैट विल बी डिफरेंट, एंड दैट वाज द ओनली रीजन आई हैव टू स्विच ओवर टू अदर ब्रांड. सो आई स्टार्टेड विद दिस मोटुल फर्स्ट. इट्स अ एक्सट्रीमली गुड ऑयल. Instantly you can feel a better ride quality, but the issue with this oil is it is not available. एक या दो ही वर्कशॉप या तो फिर ऑनलाइन सेलर्स होंगे उनके पास ये प्रोडक्ट अवेलेबल था, एंड दे वर आस्किंग फॉर 8 to 10 days एज अ शिपिंग पीरियड. सो आई वॉज नॉट वेरी मच कन्विंस्ड विथ इट, सो आई डिसाइडेड टू गो विथ दिस ऑयल. इट इज अ यामा ल्यूब ऑयल. इट इज ऑल्सो अ 10 weight oil. नाउ अगेन द सेम इश्यू विद द यामा ल्यूब. दे हैव ओनली मेंशन 10 weight oil, बट कहीं पे भी इन्होंने काइनेमेटिक विस्कोसिटी या विस्कोसिटी इंडेक्स कुछ ऐसा मेंशन नहीं किया है. बट इंटरनेट पे थोड़े रिव्यूज मैंने देखे थे तो अच्छा था, एंड इट वाज एक्चुअली अ 10 weight oil एज पर देयर फीडबैक. सो आई थॉट लेट मी ट्राई दिस यामा ल्यूब fork oil, and I went ahead, and really I am very much satisfied. As such, there is no issue with the Yama Lube also. So this is a mineral oil, and this is the semi-synthetic oil. Now both of them are having printed with a 10 weight oil. Here you can see both of them are having a 10 weight oil. But it is not necessary both oil might be having the same viscosity unless and until you are not knowing about the viscosity index or kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius. Now if I talk about the change interval or the frequency of changing a fork oil, no matter what manufacturers say, but I will recommend you, if you are using a mineral oil, say for example this is the mineral oil Yama Lube. So even Yama also mention you have to change this fork oil after every 10,000 kilometer, and if you are using a full synthetic oil or a semi-synthetic fork oil, then I will recommend you this Motul fork oil. It is a semi-synthetic, so you can extend it by another 5,000 kilometer, and you can change your fork oil after every 15,000 kilometer. So if you are using a mineral oil, 10,000. If you are using a full synthetic or semi-synthetic, then follow the 15,000 kilometer interval. You must have observed whenever you are draining a fork oil, right? So whenever you have poured it, it was a colorless, might be a golden color or might be a some other color, but whenever you are withdrawing it, so it might be a completely black in color. So from where this black color comes into your golden or colorless fork oil? So the simple answer is, here you can see, as I have mentioned, these are the forks, right, which are having a spring and some other internal components, and they are working together on the principle of hydraulic pressure. So continuously there is a friction, and due to that friction, the internal parts of suspension components, so those metal or particles will get into your fork oil, and which will eventually make your fork oil color a dark black, or even sometimes it's a muddy. So that is the reason you should change your fork oil after every 10,000 or every 15,000 kilometers. Now if you are satisfied with the performance of your forks, right, by changing the better fork oil, then it's good. If you are not, Then I would like to add one point that I forgot to mention. Now there is a limit of kinematic viscosity also. So let me give you an example. Your 10 weight fork oil might be having a kinematic viscosity around 32 to 36, right? So if you are changing a better oil within the same grade, मतलब 5 weight oil में या 10 weight oil में ही आप change कर रहे हो, but you are looking for semi synthetic or full synthetic engine oil, then your kinematic viscosity should not be vary by plus or minus 5. तो suppose 35 है तो it should be between 30 to 40. उससे ऊपर भी नहीं जाना है, उससे नीचे भी नहीं जाना है. अगर आप ये करते हो राइट, देन योर राइड क्वालिटी विल बी ड्रास्टिकली चेंज एंड आपका जो फोर्क का परफॉर्मेंस पहले था उससे भी खराब हो जाएगा. तो सपोज 10 वेट है तो मैक्सिमम यू कैन गो फॉर 12.5 और 15 वेट ऑयल, और इन द लोअर साइड यू कैन गो फॉर 7.5 वेट ऑयल. बट 5 पे मत जाओ या 20 पे मत जाओ, बिकॉज दैट विल ड्रास्टिकली चेंज योर राइड क्वालिटी. सो ऑलवेज मेंटेन दिस रूल, plus or minus 5 in the kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius. Now if I talk about a major upgrade, if you are not satisfied with the minor upgrade after changing the better fork oil, so few companies are there in India or in overseas market, so they can give you a complete set of your front suspension system, and few companies are there, they can just change the internal components of your front suspension system, so you can get part from them, and later on you can install it and you can enjoy the better ride quality. So basically these companies will give you a better spring, right, better spacer, better quality fork oil, and the last one will be the pump, because pump is a very crucial part as far as front suspension is concerned, because it governs the flow of liquid means fork oil into your system. So if orifice is smaller or bigger in diameter, so it will directly affect your compression as well as the rebound damping. So that was the reason I mentioned earlier, you should not change your kinematic viscosity by plus or minus 5. Otherwise the stock pump orifice will not cope up with the lighter or subsequently higher viscous oil, and your ride quality will be messed up. So better if you are doing a major upgrade, then change all the components at once, or if you are doing a minor upgrade, then better quality fork oil should give you a better ride quality. I hope I made it simple and which will be helpful to you. But if I summarize this entire topic, right, then in the minor you can go for a better fork oil with a better viscosity index with the same identical kinetic viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius, and in major you can go for the complete overall of your suspension system, which includes the spacer, spring, better fork oil, even better seals, and the pumping system. So this was all about fork oil. I hope it will help you in selecting a better fork oil. Always refer a kinematic viscosity and along with the higher viscosity index. So if you find this video helpful, then feel free to like, share and subscribe. Till then,